Hey guys, welcome back to the channel once again. Kenroy here. Now today I've got a really short video because I've actually thought about this little hack on how we can actually get our knives to be out of sight, out of mind. Of course, not be a danger to anyone, you know, putting their hands in the drawer, getting themselves caught on the knives. And I'm actually using this, which is a magnetic knife holder. Now we actually picked this up in Wilko, and it was the cheapest one I could find, and it was just £3. Now they do have more expensive ones on the market, but of course I'm always looking for a good bargain on a budget, and I'm willing to give this a go. Now I'm planning on actually using this on the underside of our cupboards to free up the workspace top. The knife block that we had before, unfortunately, some strange reason stopped working because it had like these long bits of spaghetti, if you want to call them that, inside of it, and as we push the knife down, they would normally move out the way and obviously house your knives safely. Now for some reason those are all twisted. I did try to fix it, but with no luck. So I'm going to give this a go, and maybe this can inspire someone else if you're thinking about storing your knives away safely. Why not try storing them underneath the underside of your cupboards? Now, I've already done something similar to this by using our kitchen towels and actually attaching the kitchen towel holder underneath the cupboard, and this of course has freed up space, much needed space on our worktop. So I'm planning on doing the exact same thing with this magnetic knife holder. So wish me luck. So this magnetic knife strip is simply held on by using some screws. Now the good thing to know is that you have to make sure that the screws that you're going to be using to attach it through these two holes, which are already pre-drilled, aren't too long to actually go into your cupboard. Now once you've taken into consideration the thickness of your cupboard plus the amount of space that's going to be taken up by these screws, you can then decide whether or not those screws are going to be too long, because you don't want them going all the way through into your cupboard. You want to make sure that they're long enough to give you enough hold onto the cupboard, but at the same time you don't want them to be too short. Now the next important thing you need to know is how far back you want your knives to sit. Now what I have done is basically use one of my knives with the longest handle. I've got my tape measure out and actually given it a measure to see how long the handle is, because what I'm actually planning on doing is having them sit about an inch or so away from the door, so that when the door opens it won't get snagged on the actual knife handles. So you've got to make sure that you take that measurement. Now once I've got that measurement, I've given myself an extra inch, so I've gone for 6 inches. I simply get a pencil, 6 inches in, made a little pencil mark, and I've done the same on this end. So that way, once I get my magnetic knife holder, I can then use those 2 pencil marks to figure out where I'm actually gonna attach these two. And hopefully once they're attached, the job will be done. Pretty easy, he says. So I've just aligned up my magnetic holder. I'm happy with the location. I then made my 2 marks underneath where I'm gonna actually be attaching my screws, which is pretty straightforward. Now all I'm going to do is to drill into that. Now you can use a small drill bit to punch a couple of holes, just enough for your screws to actually you know, start making it threading in, because it's quite hard as these surfaces are quite smooth to just get your screw sometime and actually drill straight in. But depending on how good you are, the next step is simply to drill straight through. That's on there real strong. Now one thing that I forgot to mention is that you want to make sure that your knives won't be too long, so that even when they're sitting on the magnets, it won't then sort of start scratching on the side of the wall or the tiles. Something that I forgot to do, but luckily I think I'll be okay. Even though these knives, some of them are quite long, I think I'll just about get away with it. So now it's time to see whether or not this works. Fingers crossed my measurements will be good, and these bad boys will no longer be clogging up the worktop, and they'll have somewhere nice to sit, all tucked away. Okay, so that's it for my crazy little experiment. So far so good. Now it'll be interesting to see how this actually holds up, if it will be able to be sustainable over the long term. But as long as the knives are attached safely to the magnetic strip, I don't see any issue happening in the near future. And yeah, like I said, it's just thinking outside the box slightly, and hopefully this will pay off. The knives are easily accessible, they're sort of out of the reach of the kids. Abby won't be able to open the drawer and get at the knives. And like I said, it allows us to have more workspace on top of the worktop, so I think this is a job well done. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, whether or not you think this is a good idea, but only time will tell. As always, this is Kenroy saying, I'll see you when you see me. Take care.